Most guys think saying yes keeps the peace. It doesn't. It actually kills the attraction. Let's talk about why.
We're going live, baby.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host,
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer. He is a certified master life coach and NLP practitioner.
It's true. It's damn true. Now, this is going to be my last stream from StreamYard. I'm going to be moving over to Restream on Wednesday, and I was playing with it yesterday, and it doesn't look like I can talk over the intro. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how Restream plays out. Happy Monday, guys. Hope you had a good weekend. I got the Kindle paperback and hardcover edition of Keep Your Bish submitted to Amazon, and it's scheduled to release on Black Friday. You can pre-order the Kindle edition now. The link's in the description. I also have it pinned in the chat there. One of the things I talk about in that book is boundary setting and why it's crucial you learn how to set boundaries and enforce boundaries. A part of that is being able to tell your woman no. It is hard. It's hard for men to do. We're programmed not to do it. Now I saw something the other day. It's funny watching stuff with Nurse Chick, right? Nurse Chick she's been following the podcast like religiously for, years now. And she's my biggest fan, right? So she's like super red pilled and she can't unsee any of the stuff anymore, right? And so we're both watching Luke Cage, the old Marvel series that used to be on Netflix. And there was one of these episodes that we watched where this guy, Bobby Fish, who hangs out in the barbershop and plays chess and he does everybody's taxes. He saw Claire, the woman that Luke was dating for a time. And she gets around. She's also been with Daredevil, and she's also been with Iron Fist. She gets around, you know what I mean? She's kind of like a superhero bop, as my son would say. Anyway, she's an attractive woman, and Luke was having problems with her. And Bobby said something like, with a woman like that, the only answer is yes, unless a no is required, right? And the problem, that's the problem, okay? That's blue-pilled conditioning that shows up in our programming. It shows up in the media. You see it in the people you know. You probably saw your dad do this kind of stuff. You see your uncles do this kind of stuff. It's social programming, okay? It's putting these women on a pedestal. And that's why we have so many entitled harpies out here these days, because nobody has ever told them no in their lives, okay? Another crazy example of not saying no happened in the Wolfpack this past Friday night, which was funny because Friday's episode was really designed for one guy who was struggling in Wolfpack, okay? Well, that night, he informed us that his wife dressed up like a hooker and went out with one of her single 304 friends without discussing it with him. And his wife not only left him there with the kids, she told her friend to leave her kids with him too. And they both just left, right? He didn't know how to tell them no. I was talking offline with brother Nathan, who's sort of one of the leaders in the Wolfpack. He was just on the podcast last week on Wednesday, just released a phenomenal book called Divorce is War. He's one of my old 3% brothers, him and brother Kamal in the Wolfpack. They're my old 3% brothers, so they have this stuff down on pat. Anyway, so he and I were chatting offline about this sort of thing. He's like, what would you have done if, Nurse Chick did that to you? Which Nurse Chick would never do that to me. But if she did, if all of a sudden she just decided to dress up like a hooker and go out with one of her single 304 friends and they both just dumped their kids on me, my kids are my kids, so I'd obviously take care of my kids. But her friends' kids, I would pack their kids up in the car, drive over to their house, and drop them off in the driveway with a picture saying, and send that over to Nurse Chick. Say, you better tell your friend she needs to get to her house because her kids are in the driveway. And I would go home. Okay. People doing that to you, they will walk all over you if you let that happen. And women are only as shitty as we allow them to be. Okay. It's not the 8-minute mark. I'm probably getting demonetized. Guys send super chats. Okay. Anyway, all the harping I did on the podcast Friday about how it was clear he hadn't read my books and he needed to read my books, it finally sunk in after that. And he started listening to Get Her to F You Again this weekend. A big part of that book, a big part of Get Her to F You Again is on setting and enforcing boundaries and how to not let women walk all over you. Okay. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Why saying no can actually strengthen your relationship. Before we get into that, though, guys, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and kick this off. So saying no, so we're going to talk about a whole bunch of reasons why saying no can strengthen your relationship. So the first one I have here is saying no shows you have a spine and a center that does not bend to just keep the peace. So this is a problem with nice guy syndrome is guys walk on eggshells, and we were conditioned to do this since we're young. A lot of it comes from single mother households, but it also comes from households where your mom ran the show. You know what I mean? And your dad deferred authority over to mom and go ask your mother. I don't know, go ask your mother kind of crap, right? Well, that kind of thing, the reason why that's a problem, Dr. Robert Glover lays it out in No More Mr. Nice Guy very well. But he says the problem with single mother households or households where mom's running the show is that enforcement of rules is arbitrary based on her feelings and what's going on with her in the moment. Okay. The things with dads, when dads set the tone, when dads are in charge, when dads make rules, is kids know that there's boundaries. Kids know what dad's rules are. And as long as they don't step over the line, everything's cool and there's structure. When it's mom, those rules are selectively enforced based on whether she can mentally handle it that day, right? And so what kids don't learn that there's boundaries. What they learn is I need to make mom happy. I got to make mom happy. So kids learn to just walk on eggshells. And so guys take that into their relationships and they're trying to make their wives happy at all costs. And in order to keep her happy, because if you tell her no, she might get pissed off, right? She might get pissed off and throw a temper tantrum and make a big deal out of all this stuff. And if you don't hold your ground with something like that, you're going to cave because you're trying to make her happy. And then she's going to learn that I can walk all over this guy. I can do whatever I want. This guy will eventually cave to whatever I want. I can manipulate him. And that causes her respect to erode, and over time, attraction erodes. If a woman can't love a man she doesn't respect. Okay. By the way, guys, if you're new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer. I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. Okay. Now, another reason I might burn through these today. I said that last Friday though, but it ended up being a long episode. Another reason why you have to say no and why it can actually strengthen your relationship is because it prevents silent resentment from building. This is going to be kind of a common theme, because what's happening oftentimes is you're trying to do this to make her happy. Okay. It doesn't necessarily make her happy. It teaches her to walk all over you. And then you're going to beat yourself up because you should have said no and you didn't. And then you're going to resent her for walking all over you, but you're the one that allowed it. You're the one that allowed it. And this goes back to the example of my man from Friday night. His wife and her single 304 friend did a really shitty thing to him, and he didn't tell him no, and he was pissed off about it. And so he went and you know, talked to the pack about it, which is why the pack is there. You know what I mean? But now he's resentful of his wife. Now he hates her. This whole weekend, he's talking about how he's going to go talk to family and talk about, you know, dumping her and getting a divorce from her and stuff like that. Instead of fixing himself This is what the plan is now, right? One of the things is we were talking about it in the pack. We talk about it a lot. It's like a red pill sort of mantra. Is the stay plan is the same as the go plan. So that means that whether you're going to leave her or not, it doesn't matter. You still have to do the work, because if you don't do the work, you're going to have the same problems down the road. Okay. But what a lot of guys do is, instead of doing the work, they just skip to the go plan, and they think that she's the problem, and that if they eliminate her from their life, that's going to solve all the problems. It doesn't, because they've never worked on themselves. Like, sure, she might be a shitty person, but you never learned how to set those boundaries in the first place to protect you from that kind of stuff. You never learned how to be more intentional with vetting women in your life. You never learned how to like spin plates and have an abundance mindset. There's a lot of things that you need to do for yourself, whether she's a shitty person or not. Okay. Because you're going to have the same problems down the road if you allow this type of stuff to continue. If you don't learn how to say no, you're going to have problems down the road. So yeah, you could dump her, but you're going to have the same problems in your next relationship, or with the next, even if you're like, oh, I'm never getting married again. I don't even recommend you get married. Okay. This is a terrible idea. Okay. But a lot of guys still want to have a woman in their life in some form. And if you don't learn this stuff, you're going to have the same problem down the road. Okay. So learning how to say no prevents a lot of this silent resentment from building up, because you stand your ground and you don't tolerate stuff that will piss you off in the long run. Okay. It also, learning how to say no and set boundaries, it communicates that your time and energy have value too. Okay. Like, for instance, my man Friday night, he might have wanted to do something productive, maybe something for himself, maybe build a business. I don't know. I don't think he was doing any of that stuff, but let's say it was a different guy and he had these plans in his head of, okay, cool. When I get home after work, I'm going to work on this kind of stuff, or I'm going to play video games, whatever. I want to do something for me. And then someone does this to you. And if you don't tell them no, hey, I got plans tonight, I can't do that. You should have talked to me about that first, but no, I'm not doing that. Okay. If you don't tell people that, you basically say that my time and energy is at your disposal. You know what I mean? Like, I don't dictate my own time. You tell me what to do. Right? And that subcommunicates lower value. And that's the whole thing about when it comes to especially intersexual relationships between men and women, is you have to learn how to use women's hypergamous nature to your advantage. Okay. You have to learn to use women's hypergamous nature to your advantage. And a part of that is understanding power dynamics and also learning sexual market value. Okay. If you, like, a woman only wants to be with a guy that's at her level or above, rarely at her level, definitely not below her level, but mostly women are looking for guys at a higher sexual market value than them. And you not being able to tell her no, that you don't value your time and energy, that subcommunicates that you have lower value. That will cause her to start questioning the relationship. And that's where, like, her evolutionary selfishness kicks in. Okay. We talk about that, the betatization process. I talk about it in the new book, Keep Your Bitch. And I also talk about it in Get Her to Fuck You Again. Okay. It's very important to understand that if you're going to use hypergamy to your advantage. Okay. a lot of these guys that claim to be red pill and put out red pill content, all they do is they bitch and moan about women and women's hypergamous nature, and they're out there trying to change women. It's like, you're not going to change thousands of years of evolutionary wiring, brother. So you might as well learn how to use it to your advantage. Okay. Think of judo. Okay. Someone comes running at you and you use judo, you're using their own momentum against them. Yeah. Same with Aikido. Okay. Brother Nathan brought up the other day on the podcast, because I forgot about this. I did a whole episode about taking all this stuff and learning from different guys in the space and creating your own Kung Fu style. Like, Nathan brought that up on the podcast last week. I'm like, yeah, that was a good analogy. That was a good show I did. But you got to think of it that way. Okay. You got to think of it that way. If you really want to be successful in the relationships, you got to understand how women are wired, and you're not going to change that. So how do you work with it? Okay. Use it to your advantage. Another reason why saying no can strengthen your relationship is it creates a natural sense of polarity when you hold your frame and you hold your course and you stay on mission. Okay. And you don't let her knock you off center. Here's the thing, like women don't really want to win. They don't. They want to know that they can't push you around, that they can't have their way with you. Because as soon as they realize that they can't do that, that actually makes them feel safe and secure in the relationship. You often hear women say, I just don't feel safe in the relationship. I don't feel secure in the relationship. That's why, because you're not providing the structure that makes them feel secure. It has nothing to do with how big and muscular you are and how many guns you got and shit like that. It's not logical. Okay. It's emotional. It's a feeling. Okay. So you've got to create that sense of polarity in the relationship for her to feel safe and secure. All right. And if you can't have boundaries, if you can't enforce boundaries, if you let her walk all over you, she's not going to feel safe and secure in the relationship. And she's going to lose attraction for you. And she's going to look for a guy who can do that. The thing is that women are struggling out there because most guys don't know how to do that shit. Most guys don't. Okay. So if you don't know how to do that yet, don't beat yourself up. Okay. I didn't learn all this shit until after I was 35 years old. Okay. So that's why I wrote my first book, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. I wish I knew this shit when I was 18. I would have had a much different life. Okay. But anyway, I digress. So polarity. Let me ask you guys a question. Okay. For you guys that are watching live right now. What happens in your relationship when you say yes to things you don't actually want to do? Okay. Now, maybe you don't do this anymore, but think back to past relationships. What happened in your relationship when you said yes to things you didn't actually want to do? Okay. Let me know in the chat, or if you guys are watching the replay, drop a comment below. Okay. Another reason why saying no can strengthen your relationship is it stops the cycle of covert contracts in hopes of getting affection, in the hopes of getting sex. Okay. And this goes back to it prevents silent resentment from building. Okay. Because covert contracts builds resentment because you're doing stuff expecting something in return. Right. So like, let's say Friday night, this poor guy, this poor guy, his wife hasn't been fucking him forever. Right. She might give him some pity sex like once a month, maybe once a week if he's really lucky at this point. Okay. But she has zero respect for him. So he'll do these nice things for her. He's still doing it. It's one of the things that we're like, dude, you've got to eliminate covert contracts, bro. You've got to. Okay. The thing is that this type of shit will happen and he'll be like, okay, well, she better fuck me then. She better fuck me if this, because I decided to watch the kids and she better fuck me. And then she doesn't. So then he's even more pissed off that one, he let her walk all over him. And two, she's not fucking him still. Okay. So you've got to eliminate the idea of covert contracts. What's a covert contract? It's doing something to get something. And for men, it's usually trying to get sex, right? Trying to get affection and sex. And so women will dangle carrots like this, right? We've got another brother in Wolfpack who he finally articulated what he was talking about. Because he was saying, he's like, I feel like my wife is dangling pussy like a carrot, but he didn't really explain exactly what was happening. So when he finally explained what was happening, he was like, oh, okay, well, that's a different situation. Here's the advice for that situation. But what that guy's wife was doing is she would say, hey, if you do X, Y, and Z for me, I'm going to blow your mind later. I'm going to give you the best, sloppiest blowjob ever, or whatever. You know what I mean? And then when he would go and do that and then come back to cash in, she would like either do it, but be very unenthusiastic about it, or just go, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling tired and shit like that. Right? Like that kind of stuff. Don't accept those types of manipulation offers. That's the one of the situations where it's okay to decline the offer. Okay. Because one of the things I say to guys is if a woman's initiating sex, don't turn her down, because rejecting a woman's sex initiation, women don't handle it the same. Okay. Especially if she hasn't been fucking you in a long time. If she initiates sex, don't shut her down thinking that you're teaching her a lesson, because it doesn't. The lesson it teaches her is that it's right to not have sex with you, and she'll give you even less sex. But when she's dangling it like a like a negotiation offer, perfectly acceptable to say pass. Okay, especially if she's asking you to do something you don't want to fucking do. Okay, if a woman's asking you to do something you don't want to fucking do, doing it is just going to build up resentment. Okay, so just don't do it. Just be like, no, I got other things to do. Okay, or just say no and don't give her any explanation. When she says why, be like, I don't have to explain that. No, I'm not doing it. Okay. If you learn how to say no and not feel guilty, right? It teaches her that you're not motivated by her approval. And that's the thing. A lot of nice guys are trying to seek their woman's approval. They're trying to seek their woman's validation. And when she realizes that you're trying to get her approval, you're trying to get her buy-in on stuff, and you're trying to get her blessing on shit, she loses respect because you're putting her in charge of the relationship. Okay. She doesn't want to be in charge of the relationship. And if you don't assume control of the relationship, she's going to assume control because nature abhors a vacuum, and she'll take that role and then resent you for not being the leader of the relationship. Okay. So you being able to tell her no teaches her that you don't need her fucking approval, right? The king doesn't need the approval of the subjects. It's a monarchy. Okay. He doesn't get voted in. He's the fucking king. Right? Think of yourself that way. It's toxic as shit, but it'll help you in your relationship. It removes the boyhood habit of trying to earn love through compliance. Like I said before, this is the problem with single mother households. This is the problem with women who run the roost, right? Even if your dad's in the house, but your dad defers all authority to the mom. Boys learn the habit of earning love through compliance. Okay. And then they take this, and this is where covert contracts come from. This is where walking on eggshells comes from. It's all this kind of shit that we learn from childhood. It's your paradigm. Okay. It's your paradigm. Now guys, if you are in a new relationship, okay, you just met a girl. Oh man, this girl, she's perfect. She treats me like a king. She's so sweet. But have you ever noticed how a lot of times it's always good in the beginning? It's always good in the beginning, and then it goes downhill, right? Or maybe you read Get Her to Fuck You Again, and you were finally able to turn your relationship around, and your wife's responding well again, and stuff like that. I wrote Keep Your Bitch for you guys, okay? For guys that are in new relationships and you don't want to ruin it, okay, by falling on bad habits, and you got your relationship turned back around, and you want to make sure you keep it that way for the long term. I wrote Keep Your Bitch. It's now available as a pre-order on Kindle. Okay, links in the description. Let me play a quick commercial for that. You finally got her back. The spark's alive again. Or you met someone new and everything feels effortless. Right now, anyway. But deep down, most men lose it right after they win it. They stop setting the tone, start coasting, and attraction slowly dies in silence. That's what kills 90% of relationships: complacency. She doesn't stop loving you overnight. She just stops feeling you. And if you think loyalty alone keeps her interested, you're already slipping. Now that you've turned your relationship around with Get Her to Fuck You Again, or you moved on and found a real contender after Forget That Bitch, you need to know how to keep that attraction burning for the long haul. Introducing the next book in the Red Pill Guide series, Keep Your Bitch, coming this December. It's not about saving failing relationships. It's about never letting one fail again. You'll learn how to lead with frame, maintain polarity, and keep her obsessing over you year after year. Because attraction isn't permanent, it's maintained daily. Stay the man she fell for. Stay the man she can't stop thinking about. Keep Your Bitch. Available this December. It's scheduled to release on Black Friday, guys. Black Friday. Let's see who's in the house. Oh, by the way, before we talked about the guys in the house, check this out, guys. All right, I just want to show you this. The Wolfpack guys saw this stuff last night, but I already have the outline done for my next book. I'm going to start writing that in January. But last night I was bored and I got this idea for a book cover for the next book. Check this out. This is going to be the next book. And we were workshopping this last night in Wolfpack. And this is the next project, guys. You guys are going to fucking love this book. Smash that like button for dicking her down right, brother. All right. Okay. AI's going to clip that shit. All right. Who do we got in the comments here? Phil's in the house. He says, hola. Let's see here. Mike says, Money Monday, get that bread. I tell women no all the time and they're still here. Don't fear your woman, guys. Yeah. Like, why are you so scared of your girl? What is she, like 5 foot tall? You could take her, bro. You could take her. Why are you so scared of her? Erkin, good day, man. What's going on? He says, it may be hard to set boundaries up for someone who already walked over you. It's 1,000-foot tow rope, brother. All right. If you let this shit go for so long, it's hard turning that ship around, but it can be done. I've coached lots of guys through it. A fresh start may be necessary to be able to set boundaries. It's not always easy, but you got to learn how to do it. You know what I mean? So you either learn how to do it when you have someone already here to spar with, or you got to like study the theory behind it anyway when you're alone and then find someone new to try to practice with. I mean, what's easier? Someone you already have a sparring partner here. You know what I mean? You can fresh start with your current woman. You don't have to break up to start repairing things. Exactly. Okay, let's see here. You never announce, baby, I'm going to change. You simply change. Then she decides whether or not to come along. Exactly. You can't let women know the game. Okay. Once women are observing the game, it changes the game. This is one of the fundamental things I disagree with Dr. Robert Glover about. Dr. Robert Glover, phenomenal man. I've learned so much from him. Like, Dating Essentials for Men is one of my holy trinity of dating books. I've read it like a dozen times. But in No More Mr. Nice Guy, he recommends talking to your wife about this journey you're on. And I'm like, that's a fucking terrible idea, because as soon as she starts seeing anything that you're doing, she's going to test you more. She's going to go, oh, is your little book teach you that? Right? She's going to be a bitch about it. Just don't talk about it. Be about it. Okay. I see guys online, like with the Passive Dread Blueprint course, where they'll see the ad for that and then they'll share it and tag their fucking wife. Or they'll see Get Her to Fuck You Again book and tag their fucking wife. I'm like, what are you doing? You don't need her permission, for one, to fix your relationship. And two, the book's not for her, it's for you, bro. Okay? Don't fucking tag your wives, guys. Stop being artards. And then Mike also says, a gal has dangled the carrot with me before. And my response was, you're going to be doing that anyway. And no, I'm not going to be to your sister's baby shower. Fuck yeah. She's like, oh, I'll give you the best BJ of your life. You're going to do that anyway, right? I'm not going. I fucking love that, man. That's fucking great. The other day I told Nurse Chick no. And it wasn't even mean. It wasn't even like I didn't even want to do what she wanted to do. It's just I had other shit to do. I was busy doing other stuff. She invited me down to a potluck at her work. And I was busy. I had a bunch of shit I had to get done. And I was like, I'm going to pass on that. I got to get a bunch of this other stuff done. So I didn't go. It's okay to tell your woman no. Like, what? Nurse Chick's not mad at me for that. And if she is, that's her problem. That's not my problem. Speaking of Nurse Chick, she says, good morning, gentlemen. And Nurse Chick gets this.
I'm so naughty.
She is.
I'm going to come.
I am. You know what? You guys need to thank Nurse Chick, okay? Because this is the first iteration of the book cover that I came up with. Let me see if I can find it here. This one. This is what I created first, okay, of the new book cover. And she goes, I don't like that. I don't like that emoji. I don't like the color. It's too cartoonish. I just don't like it. And I shared that in Wolfpack, and everyone's like, it looked like that the shape of it's off. Like that should be where the C is or some shit. And I was like, all right, fine, fuck it. So I found this one where it's more realistic, and everyone's like, yeah, that's the dick. That's the one. That's the one. Anyway. Okay. Where are we at here? One of the reasons why you need to learn how to say no more is it demonstrates that you can tolerate her disappointment without folding. Okay. This is where you got to learn how to not own your girl's emotions. Okay. Your job isn't to fix her emotions. She's going to feel how she's going to feel. Let her feel however she's going to feel. Okay. But a lot of us are trained because the single mom thing, because mom ran the roost, whatever, that you have to keep women happy at all costs. And so we constantly live our lives of owning our women's emotions. She can be disappointed. She can be mad. Okay. What's funny is every guy that I've taught this and who's tested it out, because I often say, don't take my word for it, try it out. Okay. Just try this shit out. The podcast is free. Okay. The podcast is free. Try the stuff I talk about out. If some of this is working for you, then pick up a book. Okay. Because I go into depth in the stuff in the books, right? But every guy that has learned this and has tested it, what they've found, it's almost like clockwork. It's very predictable. Women can become very predictable when you start applying this stuff. What you'll find is she might get mad at you. She might get pissed off and throw a fit and start yelling at you or whatever. But if you don't budge, if you don't get in your emotions, you don't reflect her negativity back at her, and you respond with either indifference or playful, agree and amplify, right? Like you're not rattling me, babe, but you're so cute when you're mad, right? But you don't let her emotions affect you. What you'll find is she'll go stew for 30 minutes, maybe an hour. But after she's processed her emotions and stuff like that, she'll come back and fucking sit in your lap like a kitten. Okay. They love it. They love that they can't get their way with you. Brother David, who I'm going to have on the podcast, he's another one of like the senior guys in Wolfpack. He's also an old school 3% brother and stuff like that. He's been in the Wolfpack for a long time. He's an original beer club brother, right? Well, Brother David put in a video update in the Wolfpack about having to use Luca on his wife, the Luca model of communication, which is listen, understand, clarity, action. And his wife was like all snippy and pissy about how he needs to do more around the house and whatever women say. And he just listened to her. He's like, oh, what makes you think I'm not doing stuff around the house? And okay, and then she just, got everything off her chest. And he just asked clarifying questions, understood where he was coming from. And he goes, the action, I didn't even have to do anything. She just wanted someone to listen to her. And he goes, 30 minutes later, she was like, oh, you're such a good listener. I appreciate you so much. And she was just like a loving little kitten. Okay. Don't own your woman's emotions. It's okay to tell her no. It's okay that she gets mad. Let her. Okay. Let her. When you're able to tell your woman no, it interrupts what Dr. Robert Glover refers to as fusion. Okay. This is a concept I learned from Dating Essentials for Men. But when you'll find that when men and women get together in relationships, that they start merging personalities. You know what I mean? And then you see these people at the mall wearing matching shirts and, I'm with stupid shirts and whatever. These are people that are totally fused and they don't have their own individual personality anymore. And a lot of guys, this is what causes guys to zero out after a breakup, right? Because guys get so enmeshed in the relationship that they don't have their own identity anymore. Okay. That's fusion. Okay. If you allow that to happen, it's going to kill the relationship. It's going to kill the polarity in the relationship. You can't let that happen. You have to maintain a little bit of separation and keep your identity separate and be a little bit more lovingly detached in order to prevent fusion from happening, because fusion will fucking kill a romantic relationship. Okay. So you have to be able to tell her no and be okay with her being mad in order to prevent this fusion shit from happening. Okay. Something I don't talk about it enough. I should probably do a whole episode on fusion. It also, telling her no clarifies what you will and will not allow in the relationship. This is boundaries. Okay. Now this is something, it's going to piss off a lot of people. It's probably going to get clipped by AI, but I learned this concept when I was in the military, when I was in boot camp. One of my recruit division commanders, Petty Officer Pope, he was a second-class petty officer. I think he was an aviation bosun's mate. He told us, he was like, recruits are like puppies. Recruits are like puppies. If you play with them in the beginning and you're fun with them and you treat them all sweet and nice in the beginning, then they end up growing up to be bad dogs. They don't listen well. They, shit on the carpet. Like they chew up shit that they're not supposed to chew up. Okay. But if you're harsh on them in the beginning and you provide structure in the beginning, they become very good dogs. Okay. Children are very much the same way. If you allow kids to be little shits in the beginning and then try to reel them back in when they're teenagers and they're doing drugs and fucking joyriding and stolen cars and shit like that, you're not going to reel them back in. You have to be harsh on them in the beginning. And then you can trust them more when they're teenagers because they're going to make the right decision. Okay. Women are the same way. Women are very much like children and puppies. Okay. They're only as shitty as we allow them to be. Okay. So if you learn how to tell them no, especially early on in the relationship, that's where keep your bitch is really going to be good for guys that get into a new relationship and they don't want to fuck it up because their last relationship ended so badly. And now they're in a good relationship and they want to keep it. Keep Your Bitch is really going to be the book for you because it's going to talk about this stuff. And you're in a good place in an early relationship, very much like Erkin was saying, doing this kind of stuff early in a relationship, it really is a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier to train her from the beginning than it is to do the 1,000-foot tow rope. 1,000-foot tow rope is not impossible though. So don't let that get you down. All right. But in a new relationship, teaching her like this stuff in the beginning, setting the tone and from the beginning is important. In fact, this is one of the chapters in this book is doing it right from the beginning. Okay. So just know that she's only going to be as shitty as you allow her to be. And so you have to be able to set no and set these boundaries and set the standard in the beginning. Okay. And then you got to maintain that and never budge. The work never stops. Okay. By the way, guys, Mike Steele just sent a super chat here. Men under pain of death, do not do the matching pajama Christmas card photo. She will plead, pout, and beg. Don't cave. Fuck yes. I agree 100% with that. In fact, this guy gets, hold on. This one.
Respect the cock and tame the cunt.
That's exactly what we're doing when we learn how to say no. You know what blew my mind? The legendary Alan Roger Curry, the guy who wrote the Mode 1 series, the guy on Direct Game, the guy on walking up to women and like being able to verbally seduce them and fuck them like right there and shit like that. He was married when I interviewed him right before he passed away. And he did the fucking pajama thing with his wife. I was like, bro, come on now. Guys, be like Mike, all right? If you guys get value from these episodes, do consider sending super chats. That helps support the show. I found out that I'm not permanently demonetized on Facebook. I'm only demonetized until Christmas Eve. It's good. It's a Christmas miracle, guys. It's a Christmas miracle. Okay. But I am demonetized for another month. So guys, send some super chats, would you? Help a boy out. Telling her no gives your yes greater weight and meaning. Okay. If you're always telling her yes to things, then she doesn't appreciate it, right? She takes it for granted. He'll do whatever I tell him, anything I say anyway. Okay. But if you're telling her no all the time, then when she finally asks you for something and you're like, yeah, that's a good idea. All of a sudden it's like, oh, it's this big fucking thing. It's the same thing as not giving women flowers all the time, not giving women chocolates all the time, not like all the kind of stuff that like Blue Pill Game teaches us, taking her out to fancy dinners all the time. Not doing that stuff so much makes it more of a big deal when you finally do something like that. Okay. They don't take that shit for granted. You got to learn how to play the game a little bit, learn psychology a little bit. Okay, guys. But when you do finally say yes to her, it's going to make her whole fucking day. And then she really will give you that sloppy toppy that she would have promised if to manipulate you with. Okay. And this time she'll be enthusiastic about it. She'll fucking love it. She's like, yeah, he said yes. I'm going to suck that. Okay. Saying no shows whether she actually wants you or and not just the arrangement. Okay. Now, this is something that you can spot early on in dating. This is why when I say you need to test a woman for her interest and test her ability to follow your lead, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Okay. Because if you tell a woman no early on in the dating process and she has a meltdown and she stops talking to you and she fucking ghosts you and all this kind of stuff, that tells you everything you needed to know about her. She was never going to follow your lead anyway. And that's the thing. A lot of guys ask me, how can you make a woman follow your lead? You fucking can't. You can't. She has to want to follow your lead. You have to inspire her to want to follow your lead. Now, some women are going to be wired for it. A lot of it comes down to whether she finds you attractive enough. That's what it really comes down to. For the right guy, whenever women say, well, for the right guy, I would do that. For the right guy, that means she finds you so attractive that she's like, yeah, I'll do what he says. Okay. And you find this out early in the dating process by testing for interest and testing her ability to follow your lead. One of the ways you test her ability to follow her lead is telling her what to do and telling her no. Right? If you tell her what to do and she does it and she doesn't question it, she doesn't give you any blowback, she doesn't try to shit test you for it, and she just does it, that's a woman that will follow your lead. Now, I mentioned the brother, one of the Wolfpack brothers in the chat, and I think he's watching live right now. I don't want to name names, but he was the guy that he was talking about his wife dangling pussy from a carrot. One of the things that he also brought up that we wanted to point out to him was that his wife, every time he tells her to do stuff, she does it, right? If he tells her to get down on your knees and suck this dick or what, she just does it, she does it. She doesn't, he says she just does it. Right. And I'm like, that's a submissive woman. That's a good woman right there. Okay. Now she might right now not be as enthusiastic as you'd like, but she's still doing it. That's better than 90% of these fucking harpies out here. Okay. So work with that, because one of the things is he has to have a hard time changing his mindset about what's happening in the relationship. And so I gave him the analogy of a cracker, right? I was like, okay, look, there's a guy starving. He hasn't eaten in days. Someone gives him a saltine cracker. That guy is going to think this is the best fucking cracker of his life. Eddie Murphy did a bit about this. He's like, goddamn, what's that? Buttery Ritz? What is that? This is the best fucking cracker I've ever had in my life, right? A guy who's sex starved is going to think that's amazing. But a guy who only eats at 5-star restaurants, he's super rich, he's doesn't go without food, he's full all the time, so he doesn't really need the food. He's going to look at a saltine cracker and scoff at it, right? So it's the same cracker, it's just how you're looking at it. And his wife being a submissive woman, that's something you can work with. You know what I mean? That's something you can work with. Now, yeah, your relationship's probably not where it is because you let some things slide in the past, but you can turn this around easy, bro. Easy. Okay. She's still being submissive. You can turn this around so easy, bro. You just gotta change what's up here. Okay. You're in a good spot. Saying no allows both people to show up honestly instead of performing. So this is where you have to be okay with her saying no too. Now, here's the thing. Most women are totally okay with saying no. Most women. I was on a stream with John MLD and Donovan Sharp once. I think we were on MLD's channel, and MLD brought it up. He goes, women, especially modern women in Western culture, they're wired to have stronger frame than men, right? I mean, a lot of it's their feminist programming and stuff like that. But women out here, they already have a lot of strong frame. They have no problem saying no. Okay. It's just guys that suck at it because we're raised to be nice guys. So the thing is that both people having boundaries, both people being able to say no, both people not letting themselves get manipulated and walked all over, it actually makes for a better relationship. Okay. When it creates mutual respect. Something to think about. Something to think about, guys. By the way, I mentioned Wolfpack quite a bit. When would now be a good time to run with the Wolves, brother?
Bear Club? Not anymore.
You fix what's broken. You lead like a man again. midlife drift, feeling alone. You don't need hacks, blogs, lies. You need men with fire in their eyes. We rebuild from the ground up. No excuses, no soft stuff. Telegram lit 24/7. Brothers locked in steel, not heaven. Step inside the pack. We don't fall, we attack. Truth, fire, presence, we bring it back. Masculine pride, no time to slack. Step inside the pack. Drop your past, claim your track. No therapy talk, no playing small. We sharpen blades, we take it all.
By the way, guys, smashing like is alpha, so smash that like button. All right. What's his name? Erkin says, what is abundant is cheap or undervalued. Yeah, it's like the difference between gold and water. You know what I mean? Like water arguably is more important than gold because we can't survive without it, but it's such an abundant resource that we don't value it. You can buy a little bottle of water for $1. Hell, you can get it for free in a drinking fountain. Right? But gold, it's hard to get, scarce. So it's got a lot of value. We put a lot of value on that shit. It's something to think about. Same thing with your time and attention, guys. Saying no breaks the pattern of caretaking her emotional state. Okay. This is where some of that Dr. Robert Glover teaches in No More Mr. Nice Guy, the concept of caretaking. Okay. And that's really just owning a woman's emotional state, always trying to make her happy all the time. That's caretaking her emotional state. This is why I tell guys, like, don't own her emotions, man. Let her feel however she's going to feel. Okay. It's not your job to fix it. It's okay to be understanding. Like I said, I think it was on Friday, I mentioned how last week Nurse Chick had a really bad day. And I could recognize it just because how she was, you know, her body language, because she doesn't talk, you know what I mean? So watching her body language, I could tell she had a really shitty day. So I went and got her one of her margarita drinks. And I said, hey, can I interest you in an adult beverage? My job is done at that point. Okay. Like if she wants to talk about it, great. If she doesn't, great. Okay. Like I'm not going to fix her emotional state, but you at least offer it, you know, hey, you want to talk about it? No. All right, cool. Well, I'm over here if you need me. Don't own it. Okay. Don't own that shit. She'll respect you more. Saying no strengthens your internal sense of direction and purpose too. Okay. And it keeps you focused on the mission. When you're not like doing all these side projects for people that is just going to build more resentment anyway, you're able to say, no, I'm busy. Right? No, I'm doing something. There's something I've got planned. And you don't let people knock you off your mission. That's a very important thing to do, especially to keep that respect going. Saying no signals reliability because you make decisions based on principle, not her feelings, not her mood. And that goes back to not letting her have her way with you, right? Not letting her be able to manipulate you because you're like, no, I'm making rational decisions here. I'm going to take a pass on that one. I'm going to say no to this one. Okay. That kind of stuff makes them feel more safe and secure because they know that you're not just dancing around her emotions and stuff like that, that you're logically thinking about stuff that makes them feel more safe and secure in the relationship. By the way, guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. I am suspended on X. I did some research. There is a slim chance in hell that I might not be permanently banned. It might be a 30-day suspension. So I've got it on my calendar to check on November 7th is when 30 days would be up. And I'll see if I'm still suspended. If so, I'm going to create a new account. Fuck those guys. Fuck those guys. Anyway, so I've been spending time on Threads lately, which Threads is a shithole. I don't like Threads that much. It's you can tell that all the liberals that got pissed off at Elon Musk all ran over to Threads or to Blue Sky or whatever. But Threads is a liberal shithole. And what I've noticed is I can go into a trending topic like the government shutdown and just make a polarizing statement about whatever. And like all the libs just fucking lose their shit. And I'm like, oh, perfect. That's boosts me in the algorithm. That's great, guys. So yeah, you can follow me on Threads too, by the way. The link's not in the description for that. Just follow me on Instagram. Okay, where are we at here? So it invites her to bring more of her real self forward rather than testing boundaries endlessly. Really, what this means is it allows her to relax into her feminine. Okay. When a woman feels safe and secure in a relationship, when she enters your frame because she trusts you, she trusts your ability to lead the relationship because you've got the dominant masculine presence, she will relax more into her feminine and actually be more of herself. She'll be more of a pleasant, sweet, feminine woman that she can be, and she's going to love you for it. She's going to love that she doesn't have to be in her masculine all the time. That's the problem with modern culture is equality made women men. It turned women into masculine, crazy people. And now they're all on antidepressants because they're not built for that. That's not their natural state. And so when you are able to set boundaries, say no, hold frame, she feels safe and secure to enter that frame. And now she can relax in her feminine and actually be more in her natural state. And she'll love you for it. She'll love you for it. Oh God, one of the Wolfpack brothers, he's on Hinge out in Vegas. He's on Hinge, and he's ran into two women on this within a day or two of each other, where the women on their Hinge profile say, I'm competing with men all day in my job. I have to make a lot of decisions. I need a masculine man that can make me feel more feminine. Like, these women are asking for this shit. Okay. There's women out here asking for this shit. So do it. It's what nature intended anyway. It's almost like we were designed this way. It's weird. Okay. It's weird. It's weird that we have this natural masculine feminine energy. It's almost like it's by an intelligent design or something. I don't know, guys. And learning how to say no removes hidden manipulation that comes from giving to get, which goes back to covert contracts. Okay. If you guys don't realize this is why nice guys with nice guy syndrome are really anything but nice, and why women don't really like nice guys is because it's hidden manipulation on your part. Okay. It's not even the good kind that benefits everybody. It's the kind where you're trying to do nice things in order to get something out of her. Okay. This goes back to covert contracts, and they really are attempts at hidden manipulation on your part. It's something to think about. Especially if you're a guy that's like, I don't want a girl manipulating me. I don't want people manipulating me. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing, brother? Okay. When you're trying to do this nice shit, when you're letting her walk all over you, when you're saying nice, or you're saying yes to stuff that you don't want to say yes to, but you're doing it anyway because you're expecting this magical sloppy toppy that never comes. You're trying to manipulate her. It's just that she's better at it than you. Okay. She's better at it than you, bro. Guys, if you really want to internalize this stuff and make it a part of who you are, take a look at the Passive Dread Blueprint. The Passive Dread Blueprint really identifies all this stuff. It also shows you how to demonstrate higher value so that not just your wife, but everyone around you sees your higher value, which will make your wife want to invest more when she sees that you're an attractive guy that other people are responding to. Okay. Check it out, dread.fixeddeadbedrooms.com. The link should be in the description there. All right. And then finally, we have, it restores sexual attraction by affirming presence, decisiveness, and self-respect. And this is really where you're just taking the reins and you're setting the tone and leading the relationship, okay? And you're learning how to set boundaries. You're learning how to not let people walk all over you. You're learning how to not be taken for granted. That's what Dread's all about, learning how to not be taken for granted anymore. Okay. But that restores the sexual attraction because women don't want to be able to manipulate you. Okay. There's the 5 stages of the betaization process, right? And a woman who's able to manipulate you pushes you down the process, and she doesn't realize she's doing it. You have no idea that it's happening. And the next thing you know, she's walking all over you. She doesn't respect you. And now she's looking for a better option. This is why women end up cheating or divorcing you. Okay. So when you learn this stuff, you learn how to say no, you learn how to handle shit tests. It brings you to the beginning of the betaization process, which is testing the male. Okay. Testing the male is where it starts. This is where we call them frame checks. We call them shit tests. We call them comfort tests. All this kind of stuff is at the beginning. And if you can bring yourself back to the beginning, it reverses the process. Now, the thing is when you start doing this and you haven't been doing this for years, she's not going to believe it yet. So she's going to test you more. And the more you pass, the more she's going to relax into her feminine. And that's how you turn things around. But you didn't get there overnight. You're not going to change things overnight. It's going to take some time and some patience. Okay. And consistency. Okay. And the last one I have here is it builds trust because she can count on you to say the truth instead of what's easiest in the moment. Okay. If you're able to tell a woman no or whatever, and you know she's going to throw a fit about it, what's going to happen is she's going to trust you more that you're going to be honest with her. Okay. Women actually really do like a guy who's straightforward and honest with them. It's one of the things I learned from Alan Roger Curry, even though he wore pajamas at Christmas time with his wife. Okay. But that's the thing. Like, women actually respect the directness. They respect a guy who's more direct. This is why when you're setting dates with women, let's say you're back on the dating circuit. Okay. This is why not asking her what she wants to do and having a plan and telling her what to do, women respond very well to that, because that's still mode one. That's still direct communication. That's direct game. A lot of people think mode one is simply the verbal seduction. It's not. It's being straightforward and direct. And women like that because they can trust a guy who's honest and won't lie to them. Okay. So you being able to tell her no and not being afraid of her emotions will make her trust you more. And that trust actually builds attraction. All right. All right, guys, that's all I got for this episode. Hopefully you guys want to try this out. Don't take my word for it. Try it out. Go tell your wife no. She says, hey, take the garbage out. Be like, no. You know what you really should do is notice that the trash can is overflowing and just fucking take the trash out. Okay. That's what you know, because it needs to be done, not because she wants you to do it, not because whatever. Okay. But, you know, tell her no. No, I'm watching the game. Dar Fitness says, yes, I don't buy flowers on Valentine's Day. I do it randomly. It's way more meaningful. You know, I've gotten to a place in my life where I literally look at pretty much all these holidays as consumerism. I am probably the most fuddy-duddy person in the world right now. Like, when it comes to Christmas, yeah, I'll buy some gifts, but it's really like, I'd much rather be with friends and family than be showering everyone with a fuck ton of expensive gifts that no one's going to use. I can't stand when people buy me gifts that I don't need. You know what I mean? Like, my mom a couple of years ago bought me like a plate set for my house. Didn't even match my current plate set. And I was like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, this doesn't even match my current plates. You know what I mean? And it's like, you might look at it like I'm being ungrateful. I mean, I still use them. I still took them. I appreciate the thought, but it's like, I didn't need these. You were better off just not buying me anything and just being here. You know, that would have made me just as happy. Okay. So buying people shit they don't need is not love. It's just helping the corporations out. It's no good. Okay. Instead, spend the money on the Passive Dread Blueprint and learn how to get your wife to fuck you again. Okay. Better money spent. Treat yourself this Christmas. That's all I got, guys. Tune into the podcast on Wednesday. We're going to talk about why your size may be impacting your dating success. And I'm not talking about the size of your schlong here. Okay. I'm talking about you being overweight. Okay. And I'm going to be talking about that from experience. Okay. It was definitely something I experienced on both sides of the equations. I was 50 pounds overweight after my divorce, and I floundered on the dating circuit. Then after my relationship with Red Pill Chick, I had lost all that weight and was in really good shape. And I was cleaning up on the dating circuit. Okay. If you're struggling right now, that's probably a big part of the problem. Okay. So tune in on Wednesday. Also, I'll be moving to a new streaming platform starting in that episode. I was going to switch to EVMux, but I was playing with that this weekend, and their site was crashing on me. I was like, fuck this. I can't rely on that. So I'm going to be moving over to Restream, which is the same platform that John Fitch, one of my friends from Rule Zero, John Fitch, uses that. And it's half the price. It's fucking half the price of StreamYard. So they have all the features that I use, all the features that I care about. I can't stream in 1080p, but I don't think that matters as much because most of my audience is on audio anyway. Most people are listening on iTunes anyway. So doesn't matter. All right. But hopefully we don't run into issues because it's a new platform and I'm not as used to it. So that should be fun watching me flounder around trying to figure out where all the buttons are, guys. So tune in just to watch me fuck up. It'll be fun. That's all I got, guys. Let's see here. I don't see. Oh, how much does StreamYard cost? StreamYard costs like $450 a year for what I'm using. And Restream is like half the price. It's like 200 some odd bucks a year. So yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So I'm not doing a lot of panel shows anymore. And one of the reasons why I even moved to StreamYard was because I started doing live streams because Aaron Clary said, you got to do live streams. You got to do live streams. And then Rollo invited me on Rule Zero, and everyone uses StreamYard, and you have to have panel shows, and StreamYard makes it easy. You can do it on Restream also though, and it's half the fucking price. So it's like, yeah, no, not doing that anymore. Not doing that. All right, guys, that's all I got. We will see you guys on Wednesday. Oh, by the way, I'm not putting out vlogs on Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday this week because I'm working on the audio book for Keep Your Bitch. So I need to focus on that. So there's not going to be any vlogs this week, but the live streams will continue as scheduled because I always do that Monday, Wednesday, or Friday without fail. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.